Let's do it live on a Football Friday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet, sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns, now live in Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Merely Bow, Great Z, gorgeous sun-kissed Friday.
Beautiful. Just
beautiful.
Just splendid. A real treat.
Really is.
It is.
It's fantastic. You going to get out today? You going to chase the small ball?
I got a few holes in yesterday.
Did you?
In between our show and the show of
Consequence
the Kevin
and Record?
Stefanski show.
Yeah.
Last night, which actually was a good one. I thought I had a really good interview with Jordan Elliott. I was able to get out there for a few holes and chase it around. It's great. It's just great to play golf, and it's fall golf, and I don't get to do it often enough.
No, it's a shame.
Gorgeous.
It's the best time, really. The courses
beautiful.
are best. Yeah, they
the courses are perfect. The
Bootsy
greens
and
were lightning yesterday.
Bootsy and I went Wednesday, or
Nice.
first Friday, as it were.
Yeah.
And the only thing that was tricky is there were so many leaves. So, like, even on the fairway, there were times where I would lose a ball covered in leaves because there were so many.
You know what would make it harder?
wind blew.
You know what would make it even harder to find?
What?
If you had a yellow ball.
Oh.
Not like a bright yellow ball, like just a yellow
No
ball.
chance.
My boy, the cook, yesterday had a yellow ball. I'm like, half these leaves are yellow, cook. How are we going to
Can't
find
see
this ball?
anything, man.
How are we going to find it? And we never. And
I
we're like,
lost.
oh, there it is.
I am truly sorry to interrupt this.
Why? This is the most fun.
I do have PJ Walker at the podium if you'd like him.
Yeah,
right
let's
now.
go.
Yes,
Let's
he is
listen
the
to our
quarterback.
quarterback.
Carmen,
Let's
if you got to go ahead.
Let's go ahead.
I know you were a young quarterback trying to find your way.
You guys are down.
It was difficult, but at the end of the day, it was just me just trying to find a way to continue to stay ready and continue to get better every day. Not being in the building all the time really sucked. I would get signed back on Fridays. That's why the transactions look like that. I would get signed back on Fridays and travel with the team on Saturdays. So that was the whole little deal.
Back on those days and have even a greater appreciation.
Oh, absolutely.
What sticks out about those games, that period of time in your life as you were figuring it out?
Oh, just the journey that I've had. I look back to 2019 when I wasn't in the league at all. Just sitting there watching from home. Just the opportunity that presents itself, you got to take full advantage of it. There's a lot of people that wish to be in my shoes, so for me, it's just take advantage of every opportunity I get.
PJ, Seattle brings everyone at quarterbacks. I think they got like 24, 25 sacks, and a lot of different guys have a sack on that team. Just if you touch on preparing to deal with that type of pressure.
I think I want to do a great job. For us, it's just being able to do different things offensively, keep them off balance. Just try to move the ball up and down the field as best as possible. Just try to put the ball in my receivers' hands, try to beat a lot of those pressures that they do bring. So for me, it's just try to be efficient and just play.
How much of your focus heading in this game is eliminating the turnovers and those plays that could be coming?
For me, it's just continue to just see what I see, play faster, play a little faster, trust my instincts a little more. And I think those plays that's turning them close to interceptions is just me not trusting my instincts and making that read when it's time to make it.
Do you feel like you're getting more comfortable as the games go on?
Yeah, day by day, play by play for me. So just every rep you get is important. And for me, just to come in here and try to learn the system as fast as possible, every rep matters for me. So that's what matters.
Your time in Carolina too, you got that opportunity again, sort of the down years to start. How has, I know different team, but looking back on that time in your career, helpful in this structure?
The experience, the playing experience was one thing. Just to go out there and get a couple consecutive games to go play in when I was in Carolina last year. My first 2 years, I only played one game each year. So last year I was able to play 5. So for me to just get that and then get a rhythm and just to go play, it feel good. You get used to guys around you. You get used to the feel of the offense. So for me, it's just to continue to grow, continue to play better, continue to play faster, and just try to continue what I learned from Carolina and bring it here.
I was just saying, how's your relationship with Kevin grown the last couple weeks too?
It's definitely grown. Just the back and forth communication, just trying to figure out what he likes and what I like. You can never have enough of communication between head coach and quarterback. So for me, it's just to continue to try to have as much communication and dialogue as I can with him, whether it's throughout the game, throughout practice, throughout meetings, anything. Anything I have a question on, I got to bring it to him.
PJ, Mari was saying yesterday you might have that clutch team, and other guys have talked about how you've kept your composure even when things weren't going well, maybe down the stretch. Has that always been you? Has that always been your game?
It's just a part of it, Just when you go out there, you can't think about everything, Just going out there and playing in the moment, being in the moment. I try not to let everything, try to confuse me or let the situation, bring me to like frantic or anything like that. So for me, it's just stay calm. Whether it's the 2-minute drive or the first play of the game, try to approach it the same.
How do you handle the noise that Seattle fans?
We gotta over communicate. We gotta be loud. We gotta talk. We gotta make sure we're all on the same page. And we all have to over communicate. Not just from me. Receivers gotta talk to receivers. O-line gotta speak. So for us, we all gotta over communicate and just be on the same page.
What's the loudest place you played?
The loudest place I've played is Seattle.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. When was that?
I didn't play there, but I was there last year with CME when we played Carolina.
What made you rock the Chubb shirt today?
Why not? Why not? You know.
Was it when you got here and obviously like meeting Seahawks, how helpful was that to sort of have a familiar face?
Yeah, it was good. You know, just knowing Butler, knowing Ant, Matt Adams, a few guys that was already here from Indy with me. It felt good to know them, and it's just good just to have that feeling of guys and you ain't walking into a locker room that you don't know nobody. So that was the best feeling for me.
How was Deshaun catching up to you?
He's been great. He's been great. You know, I've been talking to him almost after every period in practice, just trying to figure out what he see. We just communicating back and forth, and I'm just trying to figure out what he see and what he would do on some of the plays that I'm out there. So I'm putting myself in his shoes as well.
Were you surprised to see Jerome out there today and started to look good?
No, I wasn't surprised at all. You know, I think he's a tough dude. He's gonna go out there and try to give it his all. He's gonna go out there and try to go for the team. He looks good today.
Have you had a chance to process the end of that game? I mean, did you watch it individually at all?
Yeah, I watched it.
What did you think when you went back and watched that?
I feel like we left some plays out there, specifically me. But so for me, I just got to be able to hit those guys. Like I missed Elijah in the back of the end zone. That one gonna haunt me for the rest of the week, all week this week. But just me being able to get those reps again and making those throws after practices. Just seeing myself go out there and make those throws. Just getting the feel for it and, just being ready to cut it loose.
The Colts owner said that he tweeted out that the NFL told him those flags, maybe shouldn't have been thrown.
Mm-hmm.
Do you care about that?
I don't. I was a part of a game last year that a flag shouldn't have been thrown. It was thrown and we lost. So at the end of the day, things happen. Things don't go as planned or the way you think it should go. But it happens.
Is that the helmet off?
Yes.
Pretty good?
Thank y'all.
Thanks, PJ.
All right, that's PJ Walker at the podium as we kick off a Football Friday edition. It will be okay. Can he just play clean and can we win, or does he have to make plays for us to win?
No, he's going to have to make plays, and he's shown the ability to make plays. It's just been the accuracy. He's made good decisions with the football too, for the most part. It's been the accuracy on those that have been kind of the thing that has limited him. He's only completing 50% of his passes. So what you would like to see is P.J. Walker, now that he's got another week where he gets the reps, where he's more comfortable in the system, where he's played in the game speed, that, we're going to get to see him go kind of in a back-to-back game situation, which we haven't seen before, where you get the week-to-week kind of going through the process, get all the reps, and be ready to go. So I'm excited to see what he can do. But he's going to have to make plays. There are plays to be made against this defense. They have had their struggles. But, yeah, P.J. Walker is going to have to make plays if the Browns are going to win this game. We're not going to win it. I don't think we're going to just shut this team down. No, I do think our defensive line has an opportunity to really overwhelm their offensive line. But I don't think we're going to shut them down. This is a game that we are going to have to make plays and we are going to have to win.
Yeah, there's no question. In terms of the injury report, some good news here. Jerome Ford back at practice today and bouncing around a little bit. And I had I think like most of us had assumed that he was going to be out at least for this week, but he must have impressed people with Thursday and then the way that he ran and now was back at practice today. Jedrick Wills, Marquise Goodwin, Sione Takitaki all returned to practice today after missing practice yesterday. All four of those players are listed as questionable.
Right, so good news there. I think it's obviously a surprise to see, Jerome Ford out there, but that's very, very good. P.J. Walker, we just heard, he's not surprised. And by the way, you couldn't see it because you're listening on the radio, but he did his entire press conference in a Nick Chubb t-shirt, which is pretty cool. You see guys wearing those all around. I think the big one's Jed Wills. You need him out there, and it's good to see that he is back. Sione Takitaki progressing as well. Kareem Hunt and David Njoku do not carry an injury designation. Marquise Goodwin should be good to go as well in his return to Seattle, the team that he played with last year and had nearly 400 yards and a couple of touchdowns. So I think as far as health goes, this is as healthy as we've been, and I think we're healthier than they are. We'll have to see, and it won't happen while we're on the air, but tonight you'll get an update from them. But they have real players of consequence that have not practiced at all yet this week.
And to that end, Kenneth Walker, Tyler Lockett, Bobby Wagner, they did not practice Wednesday or yesterday.
That's
so
right.
These are among the most important players on their entire roster. We also re-signed running back John Kelly to the practice squad, which means we get to hear a little bit of the voice.
Oh, baby.
Let's have a listen.
Maybe?
No, I'd say no. I think at this point, the silence was longer than the clip was going to be.
Probably true. The Jim Donovan clip is pretty classic.
Yeah,
so
it's great. By the way, we now have on the active roster Ford, Hunt, Strong. On the practice squad, Jordan Wilkins, John Kelly Jr., and Nate McCrary. We are stocked.
Lots of backs, baby.
Lots of backs.
Lots of backs.
Lots
That's
of ball
the way
carriers.
that goes. We'll get an update on where the Seahawks are from a health standpoint. We will go behind enemy lines coming up next. That, by the way, was the Hot Topics presented by Vivid Seats, an official fan experience partner of your Cleveland
I
Browns.
want to hear the song.
Well, we don't have it. We'll do it later. Perhaps. We'll see.
Hopefully.
We got it.
Michael
Oh,
Sean,
we got it. We got it.
Let's do it later.
We'll do
now.
it later.
And at this point,
Fine.
we have
He's
to
the
do
man.
it later.
Fine.
We'll do it later. Michael Sean Dugar are going to join us coming up next. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Browns fans, visit your local Tide Cleaners this October for a chance to win tickets to upcoming home games. You'll be automatically entered to win with any purchase. Now it's time to head behind enemy lines. Seahawks reporter Michael Sean Dugard joining us from The Athletic on the Twisted Tea hotline. Thanks so much for taking the time, Pell. I guess let's start with who's healthy from the Seahawks side of things heading into this one on Sunday.
Sounds like, at least going from who did not play against the Cardinals in Week 7, DK Metcalf should be back on the field against the Browns. Center Evan Brown should be back against the Browns. Zach Charbonnet, their rookie second-round running back, he should be back, I believe, against the Browns. So they're getting a little healthier. They'll probably play, or at least activate, 75-year-old Jason Peters from the practice squad and have him available to play either tackle or guard. If need be, I think Jason's actually like 41. But I mean, in football,
75 would be something, though.
75. Yeah, he looks good. So maybe he could play to that long. But I think those are probably maybe I'm slipping someone, but those are the notable names. It feels like coming back. The Seahawks injury report is pretty long, but I get the sense that quite a bit of those are precautionary or guys just getting rest. Whereas I think most of those guys that I named and most of those guys you'll see on some of these injury reports floating around this afternoon are probably going to play against Cleveland.
So we're going to find out now, but is there a sense right now that maybe Kenneth Walker or Lockett or Wagner could actually miss this game?
I would be surprised if Tyler did and Bobby. Tyler and Bobby they're veteran guys.
Yep.
So honestly, they probably hurt after every game. And it just sometimes it elevates to the point of like, all right, we'll sit you in practice. Like those are two guys who don't really need much practice reps to know the game plan, to feel out their teammates, things like that. So I would be very surprised if those two missed time. They were both available to the media this week too, which usually a sign that guys are going to go. It's not a hard and fast rule. I mean, DK spoke last week and didn't play, so it's not like a guarantee, but Bobby, I mean, is talking like he's going to play, and he's kind of one of those veteran guys who probably gets a little bit more latitude than a younger dude in terms of playing through some pain. I don't know about Ken Walker. I would guess that he plays as well. He just took 26 carries, I think, against the Cardinals. He took all of the running back carries and then had some plays as a receiver too, so that might just be hey, man, we just ran you into the ground. We'll give you a few days off this week. We don't hear from Pete until I think about 5 o'clock your time, so I won't know for sure. But my guess is all of those guys will play. I feel most strong about Bobby and Tyler just because I know them. They're veterans. It's just kind of par for the course. Whereas Ken, there's not as big a sample size, but it doesn't surprise me to see him getting some few days off after taking 26 carries. I mean, backs just don't do that anymore.
No, they certainly don't. This is a very good offense. Skill positions are very good. Geno Smith's played well. Is the one weak spot for them this offensive line that I think has already had to start 5 different units in 6 games?
Yeah, 5 different iterations in six games, and only one of those iterations has featured the starting tackles. You know, Charles Cross and Abe Lucas. They played the first half together in Week 1 and haven't played together since. Charles has been back for a couple of weeks, but Abe still isn't back. So it could be, even if this is the same lineup from Week 7, which again I don't imagine it to be because Evan Brown will be starting at center again in place of Oluwatimi, the rookie. So, but even if it was the same, it's still without Abe Lucas, which is such a big deal, particularly in this matchup where you got this ferocious pass rush and Myles Garrett is built like a cyborg. You know, I always thought like Aaron Donald was kind of built funky in like a good way for his position. You know, you look at Aaron with his shirt off, you know, training with knives in the offseason, and you're like, wow, man, like that looks like a wrestler, not a, defensive tackle. Myles Garrett's the same way. It's just like you see him do anything in the offseason standing next to other non-football humans, and it's just like, wow, man, what lab experiment, caused Myles Garrett to happen to us? It has to be the same thing that birthed Captain America, I would assume, is what also made Myles Garrett. So, yeah, when you have Myles Garrett on your team and the rest of the D-line, but specifically Myles, every team's weakness becomes their O-line. I don't really care who you have up front. That dude is different. But, yeah, Seattle's weak spot has been getting pressure, particularly on the runs and in short spaces, like in the red zone. Seattle's run game in the red zone has tended to stall, and when they have to throw in the red zone, they haven't been as efficient as they've been outside the 20s. So yeah, if there's a spot where Cleveland can take advantage, potentially it is certainly stopping Seattle's run near the red zone.
Talking to Seahawks reporter Michael Sean Dugar from The Athletic here on the Twisted Tea hotline. This has been it's an interesting season so far for Seattle, for us too, obviously, but from the standpoint of they've got this great win over Detroit in overtime. There's a puzzling loss in the opener, obviously, the way that they were dominated by the Rams, and then kind of up and down in between. What do you think Pete Carroll can count on with his team, and what gives him cause for concern?
I think the thing he can count on now that the secondary is healthy is a really, really productive and hard-hitting defense, and that's what you've seen the past few weeks. The Giants game that they dominated on Monday Night Football was a nice little coming-out party, though it comes with the obvious caveat that it was against the Giants. But even after that, they held the Bengals to 17 points, in Cincinnati, and in that game, the Bengals scored 3 second-half points, and those points came on a drive that netted 0 yards. Right, they were just a result of a turnover that put them in position. They threw 3 incompletions and they kicked the field goal. So it's not even like the defense necessarily gave up those points, if that makes sense. So the defense is rock solid right now. They dominated Josh Dobbs and the Cardinals, dominated, relative to the talent. They dominated the Bengals, dominated the Giants, and they're just playing really, really well right now. They got a lot of good DBs, just like Cleveland does. You look at a lot of the stats for the best DBs in the league right now. They're mostly coming from 4 teams: the Saints, the Browns, the Seahawks, and the Cowboys. So the Seahawks are really locked in the secondary right now. That's really what the team can hang its hat on, because the DBs do a good job fitting the run, because Seattle's one of those teams that plays with light boxes, so you need the DBs to help out. So you got the DBs can help on the run. Then when it's third down, the Seahawks had 7 pass deflections last week against the Cardinals. Like, they're getting their hands on a lot of passes. So that's the thing Seattle can hang its hat on right now, is that an ugly game played with great defense, they have a chance. The concern is the third down offense. I don't have the updated numbers after the Seahawks had a good day on third down in Week 7, but they've been one of the worst third down teams in the league. They were 31st going into that Week 7 game. Maybe they're like upper 20s now, but that's still
24th.
Not good. Cleveland. Yeah, 24th, which is still not great. So going up against a Cleveland defense that's really good on third down, that is the area right there. That's where the game's going to be won, really, is how can the Seahawks get above 50% on third down? Like, if the answer is yes, Seattle probably wins. If the answer is no, you could almost bet that Cleveland's going to win, probably convincingly, too, if that number's below 50.
Yeah, you mentioned this defense, and I think third downs are going to be big on both sides, because that's where the Seattle Seahawks have struggled as a defense as well. But since they got Jamal Adams back in Week 4, they're number 1 in the NFL in yards allowed, number 1 at 237 yards per game allowed. What can you tell us about their big nickel or the big dime with having Diggs, Adams, and Love all on the field together? I saw last week Adams and Diggs played 66 out of the 66 snaps. Love played 60, when they can have those 3 safeties and use kind of Jamal Adams down in the box.
Yeah, it's a really good package. Teams try to there's a lot of multiplicity afforded to the coordinator, Clint Hurt, with that package, because he can have Jamal up high in a single high look. He can have Jamal and Julian Love high in a split safety look, and put Quandre down to the line, and then just kind of rotate and do everything with all those guys, on top of having Devin Witherspoon, their first pick in the draft, on the outside, who can also then play nickel, and then Tariq Woolen on the other side, who's 6'4", runs 4.2, and just led the league in interceptions last year. Like, they can call any coverage they want, anything from 0 to cover 9, and they can blitz, they can just do everything. Jamal can blitz, Quandre can blitz, Trey Brown, one of they're like their third corner, he can blitz. He has a pick 6 this year. He has a sack this year. So they're really multiple, and that gives teams problems, because there's so many potentials for tendency breakers, right? You may watch the film of the Seahawks and see that when Jamal's here, Quandre's here, Julian Love is there, and the front's like this, these are the things they like to run. And while that may be true, because they're so multiple, they can show you that exact same look and do something completely different. And it takes veteran quarterbacks, usually, and veteran OCs to sniff that out. But by then, you might have thrown a pick or gotten a sack, right? So that's what makes that package so dangerous. So, yeah, the teams have been trying to run them out of it, because there's 3 safeties on the field. You think, all right, we go 13 personnel, 12 personnel, maybe throw in a fullback and make you guys play, 1950s football. But teams haven't been able to successfully do that. So that would be my guess, that Cleveland, that's how they get them out of that safety package, is by using heavier personnel. But, if they don't get the early returns on it with those runs, who knows if Cleveland sticks with it.
How is the pass rush? I know Maffei's playing well, Jaron Reed's playing well, but you lose Nwosu, who had the 9.5 sacks last year. How big of a loss is that?
That's a huge one because Nwosu's he reminds me of Max Crosby. He's not as explosive as a pass rusher, but in that he's a two-way player, so to speak, on the edge. Uchenna Nwosu was just as good stopping the run as he is rushing the passer. And teams that have played the Raiders know that when you play Max Crosby, it's the same thing. You just look up and you're like, dude, this guy never comes off the field. He's over there every play, whether it's 4th and 1, 3rd and 20, or 1st and 10. Uchenna was the same thing for the Seahawks. He sets the edge with violence. He manipulates the tackles and tight ends who try to block him. Sometimes he'll shoot his gap. Sometimes he'll stay where he's supposed to be. He has a lot of latitude. So losing him is very important for these are probably the 2 best run defenses in the league, depending on what metric you want to use. So losing Uchenna on one of the best run defenses, that's really important. I think the pass rush will probably still be okay because the Seahawks have other guys who are as good as pass rushers as Uchenna. And they just signed Frank Clark, who had his best years. I know he made 3 Pro Bowls in Kansas City, but he had his best single season sack year when he was in Seattle. He had 13 in 2018. So having him back, playing next to Jaron Reed, who's a really good interior rusher, I think pairing those two with Boye Mafe, who has, I think, 4 sacks this year, leads the league in pass rush win rate, according to ESPN. You throw him in there, throw Dale Taylor in there, a guy who had 9.5 sacks last year. I think Seattle's pass rush will still be okay. They're top 10 in sack rate right now. Where losing Uchenna is probably going to hurt them is in the run game because he was arguably their best run guy.
I'll get you out of here on this one, bud. Are those uniforms that they're going to wear on Sunday as popular out there as I believe that they would be?
Yeah, I think I can't think of anything more popular, culturally to Seattle than Seahawks throwback uniforms. Maybe anything to do with Ken Griffey Jr. Because he's
those are the 2.
A deity over here, But outside of that, man, Seahawks throwback uniforms they have a special place in people's heart. I'm only 31 and I'm from here, right? But I'm born in '92, so those don't hold that special of a place in my heart. And also, the Seahawks were terrible in the '90s.
Yeah, that's true. They are
I think they had 1 playoff appearance there in '99 with Mike Holmgren, so they sucked. So there's not a lot of great memories with those jerseys, but the '90s in Seattle was generally just a good cultural time. And we had the Sonics, and they were a cultural impact with Sean Kemp and Gary Payton, Griffey and his cultural impact, and what the baseball team had there. So and then all of the music that kind of Seattle '90s grunge was really popular at that time. So there's all that nostalgia that's just wrapped into these jerseys, on top of them just looking really cool. So yeah, they're the hottest thing smoking right now. The Seahawks just actually announced that they're going to wear them again at Dallas week 13 on Thursday Night Football. That's how popular these are. They're we got to put these on the biggest stage we possibly can. And that's at Dallas. So yeah, those jerseys are the hottest thing going right now.
Man, thank you so much for your time. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you guys for having me.
All right, that's Michael Shondegar from The Athletic joining us on the Twisted Tea Hotline. I actually think the way that Seattle is doing it, the ones they currently wear really fit their brand and work and signify all of the winning. And to use these as a 3 games a year one-off throwback, I think it's nice. I think they were the few. Of course, I know. I understand. But, I think some of that is our age.
For sure.
Right? Some of it's our age.
And it's beautiful colors.
It is, gorgeous. but it's one of those ones. It's similar to Tampa Bay. In the moment, I don't remember. As a kid of the 80s and the early 90s, it wasn't I thought that they were a must-have uniform.
I always liked
the
them.
way. Yeah.
I don't know why. My dad was in his Stratomatic league. He was the Seahawks.
Oh, that's right. So
I had Seahawks
near
jerseys.
Yeah.
I had a Largent jersey as a kid.
Yeah. And then, they were an AFC team at that time too.
They were.
So that part was different. But
they're awesome.
The biggest difference, though, and we've talked about this before, it's that they were in those days. There were different manufacturers and suppliers, and so you could actually use different hues of colors.
They're different blues. That is a different blue and a green on that one.
That is a royal blue and a pretty not quite Kelly green, but a true green.
Yeah, with silver.
Right, and now they're navy and the neon
highlighter
yellow or green or whatever you want to call it, but. It's just cool as opposed to everybody wearing the same navy, everybody wearing the same royal. There was all this different, and that's what
Nike
you
can't
see.
Manufacture different blues. I don't understand.
Nike chooses not to. They just want. It's just easier to just use one blue for everything. And And I remember that when the Rams went through their thing. They were like,
Yeah.
well, this isn't quite the blue we want. And Nike's like, well, look, this is the blue that you can choose from. You can pick this one, or this one.
Yeah, they're like,
This
yeah,
is
no-
it. Sort it out.
thanks. No thanks.
Even the difference, the Dolphins are wearing their throwbacks this weekend, which are perfect. And they have the throwback end zones with the diamonds that they painted today
Yeah.
that look amazing. But even that aqua is different than the aqua they wear now. It's slightly darker. So that you're getting a taste of those. We've had the Bucks ones. We'll have the Seahawks this weekend, and you'll have the Dolphins this weekend as well. I think Oilers go this weekend too,
It's just so
which
many
is a
good-
shame.
it's-
That one's a shame that's not Houston.
It should be. I mean, there's just so many good ones. They're so good.
Yeah. Yeah. I just think it's weird that Houston didn't find a way. I know that they can't use that exact blue, but I don't know why they can't just use a light blue. There's nothing against them using light blue and red. They can still own the color palette because Tennessee's went away from it entirely.
They
They're now
have,
navy.
but maybe they own.
They own that blue, but you can't own all light blue.
No, you can't own all.
That's
that
insane.
blue. That would be.
Like, this
Seems
doesn't make
outrageous.
any damn sense at all.
That seems outrageous.
We had a Thursday night football game last night. We will get to that and all the other tomfoolery that happens on a Friday edition
You're
of the
welcome,
program.
by the way, for the Thursday night.
Yeah, we told
Good
you.
job.
Yeah,
Yeah,
told
you did. It's Thursday.
We told you I was going to
Pay
go.
attention.
Pay attention to the scores. Ben Bloom will join us as well, our defensive line coach. Listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Tito's Handmade Vodka on game day. Pour me in, coach. Find cocktail recipes for every fan at titosvodka.com. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
I'm ready for one. 75 degrees outside.
The next
patio.
level's next. Say when.
Can I ask a question?
You can
As
ask
a man
anything
who,
you'd like. You
a,
can ask
a
anything
man
you like.
who
It's
knows
your
a great
show. You're
deal
the
about
franchise.
liquor. Well,
You're the franchise.
It's our show.
The franchise.
Thanks, Goose.
Go ahead. I got my pen. Cocktails.
If blank proof is just the alcohol percentage times 2, why do we need them both?
It's a great question. It's a fantastic question.
Oh, it's 100 proof. Oh, it's 50% alcohol. 80 proof.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 40% alcohol.
I think that
okay.
I think that the problem was
They say the same thing.
No, I know, and I think that probably initially that's odd to just have a hanging hair. I think that
Whose?
I don't know, from above.
Well, now I have questions because
It's not mine.
you might have the longest hair of anybody in this.
I know it. I'm not
area.
happy about it. That was a longer than one I have, especially since the haircut. So this is my theory.
Okay.
I'm going to present it to you based on the fact that I've never thought about this much previously, and you just presented it to me. My guess is that they didn't like the idea of this is how much alcohol is in this.
Right.
So they came up with proof to hide the alcohol. And then later, so probably the federal government said you need to have both on the label.
But then at that point, to me, then
Then
proof,
one should have been gone.
Proof just goes away.
Proof
It's
goes
a
away.
relic.
Yeah, proofs. It's interesting, though, but I far more often refer to the proof than the alcohol by volume.
Same, because it sounds cool.
And
it's a higher number.
My favorite
better.
whiskeys, bourbons, are usually right around 90.
90 proof.
I
sure.
like them between 90 and 92. Otherwise,
You don't
I'm
want
not as big a fan.
100, 110.
120, you're going to go ice, and you got it. A lot of people do that. They'll do like the barrel releases that'll be 125 proof. There's a
Booker's
a
always
Weller
is high like that.
for sure. There's a Weller antique that comes in at like 129 proof. And the funny thing is before I got that bottle, which is now a white whale, and before I realized entirely what I had, I just would try it neat because I knew it was a rare bottle. This is 15 years ago, and it was like, good God Almighty! Like it's
gasoline.
lighter fluid. It's unbelievable. And so I would use it in like hot toddies, like Grandpa's old cough medicine.
Sure, of course.
Trying to clear up a little bit. And so then later I put a rock in it and let it open up, and it was like, oh, this is
what
now
it's
we're
supposed
talking.
to do.
Now we're talking. Yeah,
I
that's probably about
think-
15 years ago. The first time
I
I got a
want
bottle
to
of that.
say, from a commercial standpoint and like radio and TV, it can't. I don't know if we can advertise that high a proof. I think that's why the proof has to be in the verbiage.
Oh,
I
that could
don't-
be.
I don't know.
Well, there's
that
certain
for sure, but-
and certainly like certain grocery stores that don't have liquor licenses
Correct.
can have they can have bottled alcohol, but they can't have a certain level of proof.
Yep.
So there's
I believe
but you're
that-
right. It's all the same. It's redundant. Yeah, it is. As for Thursday Night Football, you're welcome.
You're welcome. 1-0 this week. Let's go. We told you.
I don't even know. I went back and listened to your segment. I have no idea
Listen
what
to
direction
me.
either one of you two
Listen
went.
to me.
Listen to Bo.
And by the end, I convinced him.
Well, I was under the impression going into it that it would have been like 90% on Tampa, and then as soon as we looked that up and it was 90% on Buffalo, I was like, oh, yeah, absolutely.
That way. That's the way it goes.
Let me tell you something, folks. That's one of the easiest
Yeah.
tricks in the book,
It's
in the
true.
scores.
Yeah.
Joe Public does not win.
No.
And the-
especially if it's overwhelming like that.
Like, they do sometimes. Sometimes it is
Yeah.
just that easy, but most times not. And by the way, had you been on the other side of it last night, which you shouldn't have been paying attention to the scores, on a Thursday, that would have been a horrific beat on 4th and 10 to throw a ball off the defender's helmet and have that be a touchdown. Then on your 2-point conversion, you throw it right to a defensive lineman who bats it in the air over 2 more people who likely would have intercepted it to somebody who catches it.
Yeah, and then if you're somebody who did not watch all of that and did not see the game, you'd go, my God, the Buccaneers got robbed on a Hail Mary because they tackled Godwin on a play that probably would have caught it if they don't tackle him.
Yeah. You
So-
wondered how the ball just got to the ground.
How did that
Just
happen?
Pure.
It was unbelievable. Tampa Bay's not really any good. They are decent against bad teams because they have really good
They're good players.
and they have really good players on the perimeter, and their defense
Yes.
is pretty good, and so they have all of that. So they're really good against bad teams. They usually take care of those. When they play good teams, they're going to lose. It's just kind of that simple.
They
It's
could have
just-
lost bigly.
Oh, they could have lost absolutely bigly. But there is also something that's a little off with Buffalo. and this has been about a month of this, where like we're all hanging on that Dolphins result, but they've had uneven performances. They lose to New England. They barely escape the Giants. Kind of escape
So
here.
I fell asleep.
It's kind of weird.
I fell asleep
I
in
felt
the
like they were
third quarter
totally
after they
dominant
scored
in
that
that game,
touchdown.
I mean,
Buffalo's
it's a
up.
Hail Mary from losing.
So
After some
I know, but this is the NFL. Crazy stuff happens in every
Sure,
game. Like, it shouldn't even have been that close.
that's
and
undisputable.
So the headline. So I looked this morning. I'm like, hey, who won? And the headline on ESPN is Bills get back on track, and I'm like, that score tells me that they didn't get back.
Yeah,
on
if
track
you watched the
totally.
game, it felt like they were going to win by 14 or 21 the whole second
You
half.
kept waiting for them to do
To
it,
just
though,
do
and they
it.
didn't.
Yeah.
Like, it was 7 at half.
Well, then they were playing like put people away. You have a chance to go for it
That's
on
what I
fourth
mean.
down.
Like, they're
go
just
for it.
not.
Yeah.
There's something that's not all hitting there. I do wonder, as we get close to the trade deadline, would they be a team that would be active to try to go?
By the way, they also turned it over at the 1 early in
Yeah.
the game. Why not just sneak it with Josh Allen? No, they're like, it seems like it would be easy, and then they do a sneak and he gains like 7 yards.
I just feel like the answer to anything is sneak it with Josh Allen.
Yes.
Anything short, just sneak it with Josh Allen. The end. Like, that part of it.
It ended up being the fact, like, had that Hail Mary been completed and they would have lost that game, that would have been just a stupid. They dominated them completely in that game. Before the touchdown that made it, which was, again, a pass that Baker threw short off of the defender's helmet into Mike Evans' arms. Before that one, they hadn't picked up a first down in the second half.
Right.
And the Bills just couldn't make it and they should
That's
have
what I
been
mean.
able
Like,
to.
they don't equal the sum of their parts.
No,
to
I
me.
hear you,
They-
man.
They should be better than they are, and I just wonder if that is an operation that needs a little talent injection to get them kind of rolling a little bit. This is going to be a fascinating trade deadline next Tuesday because there are some big names that have been bandied about, talking about Sweat and Young out of Washington. I don't think Danielle Hunter's going anywhere, but there's been all sorts of. You talk about Derrick Henry. You talk about DeAndre Hopkins. Does
Dalvin
Tennessee
Cook
have
now.
something else? Dalvin Cook wanting he's cooked. I think
He seems
pun intended.
fairly washed.
But there's Jerry Jeudy. Like, there's a lot out there.
Yeah.
That could happen between now and Tuesday, and I just think I'm very curious to see what AFC teams especially do to try to give themselves a slight edge here or there.
I had a buddy who gave me a heart attack on Wednesday. I was meeting some of my mates for
Some of the mates
for an
after
afternoon.
a foursome with the boys, perhaps.
Absolutely, we went to our favorite
An orange-panted establishment?
Well, no, that wasn't the place, but it had that same type of
Same vibe.
yes, that
Oh,
same
very
type
good,
of
very good, very
masculine
good.
energy. And
Sure.
we went there, had some drinks. All of a sudden, I get a text, Derrick Henry to the Ravens, and I'm like, well, that's just great. And then I'm like looking on Twitter. I'm like,
No, it's not.
that didn't happen.
I know.
He goes, I know, but that's the word I heard. I wanted you to, that you could. I wanted to tell you so you could tell the people to stop it. I'm like, if they're interested in trading for Derrick Henry, they're going to. If they're not, they're not, and they're not certainly going to jump in to stop the Raven. This isn't fantasy football where you're like blocking somebody's trade
We have 17 running backs on the roster now.
right now. Yeah,
We got a bunch
all
of
of a
them.
sudden.
That is a very Ravens deal. to
It
do
would be, but
something
I don't
like
see
that.
what. Like, obviously, he is
He'd be an upgrade over.
over Gus Edwards.
Sure.
But Gus Edwards last week just dropped 140 total yards and a touchdown on people. And
Yeah.
Gus Edwards is one of the 5 running backs to average more than 5 yards per carry for their career, like with Nick Chubb and Bo Jackson and Jamal Charles.
I mean, to
Like,
me, the one that would make more sense for them would be to go try and see what they can do with Chase Young or something like that. And
yes,
get
get
on
him
the other
another
side,
defense. And their
defensive
defense
end.
is already really, really good.
Right. Get something over
Yeah.
on that side of the ball. But Henry makes
Makes the most
be out
sense
there.
to us,
He
honestly.
really does. Of all the
Given
teams,
what-
we saw that list, and it was like the rest of them. I don't.
No, like
I don't see
Seattle,
it.
they just drafted. They have
got
1,000-yard
yeah.
second year back, and they drafted a guy in the second round this year.
Jera would do the Derrick Henry thing for sure because for whatever reason he doesn't like the kid who's there.
Pollard?
Yeah, he must not like him because that would be a Jera move to just
Wonder
to
why he doesn't
stockpile.
like him.
I don't know, but he obviously is never really willing to give him all of it. So, but it'll be interesting because this AFC, like, none of these teams none of them have been as dominant as we thought. None of them are playing clean. None of them are impervious to loss, even stupefying loss. So to me, I just think you could have an opportunity for a couple of these AFC teams to be very active between now and next
It's
Tuesday.
an arms race, man. We've been saying it for quite some time, right?
Yeah.
Like,
But
and
they-
we just got a running back. His name's John Kelly.
That's right. Oh, we have. Good job out of
Carmen,
you,
we
Give
got
A.
John Kelly.
John Kelly. Go ahead.
John Kelly, just a workhorse in the backfield. Reminds me of an Irish song, and I'll perform that right now. Has anyone here seen Kelly? Kelly. Has anybody here seen Kelly? Kelly from the Emerald Isle. It's the first preseason game.
No qualifier needed. It was perfect.
That was great.
Please voice it
That was
anytime you
the
want.
Hall of Fame game. I can't wait to get those kind of lyrical stylings back in the booth.
Oh, that pleases me a great deal.
Pleases
A little
me.
bit of
That
the
actually
voice
warmed
on it.
my heart.
Yeah, it did. Brought it, honestly, a little bit of a welling
Little-
of the tears
yeah.
here in that one. Just miss Jim so much and can't wait to see him
Yes.
back in the booth with you relatively
Same.
soon, my friend. We'll do a little bit of the over-under game coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily. Brought to
There's
you
a
by
new
Bally Bet,
sheriff in town.
sports betting partner, your Cleveland Browns on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Browns fans, Express Beer presented by Bud Light brings the same facial authentication technology used in Express access to beer purchases in the stadium. Dedicated Express Beer stands. Fastest way to get a beer in Cleveland Browns Stadium. If you are 21 or over, go to the Tickets tab in the Browns mobile app to learn more. Time for a little segment we like to call Over Under.
Oh, I thought we were going to call it Segura's Back.
So, Gibbe, as has been customary.
It was a rough one.
As has been customary in this combatant. Off to a quick start, Gibbe. And now you have been usurped.
Yes.
By one of the most humble winners in the history
of winning.
Of
Yeah.
winning.
Real
A man who takes no self-credit at all.
It's my team. It's my team. Good people around me. Couldn't do it without you coming up with such good over-unders.
I mean,
To be honest with you.
I mean, last week's were quite crazy just for
I was going to say
the numbers of
you've
this are
been-
pretty
you've been
wild.
crushing the numbers.
So the last week we had total yardage. So we went with Elijah Moore, Jerome Ford, and Kareem Hunt over under. Jonathan Taylor, Zach Moss, total yards. Okay, so that's what
right.
it was, total yards. Moss and Taylor ended up with 182.
That's right.
Our three guys had 184. So it was a 2-yard difference there.
Winner, winner.
That was one that you two went opposite ways on. Here was another one. Amari Cooper targets we had last week, the over-under at 8.5. The actual was 8.
Hey,
That's
man,
right.
we won.
Sheesh.
That's right.
I'll sacrifice my over-under record because now I'm managing expectations the right way again.
I like it. I like it.
All is well with the world.
All right, so here we go as we embark. Zagura now 16-9. Gibbe 15-10 after a 4-1 week for Z and a 2-3 week for Gibbe. All right, Gibbe, I'll start with you. We are looking for a completion percentage for PJ Walker of 58.5. 58.5 is the number we are looking for. He has not been
Under.
He has not been over that this year yet.
I will go under then.
All right, under.
He's good when he needs to be, kids. That's all that matters.
All right,
Ice in the veins.
There you go. Zagura?
So obviously, and this is what a great job by you again. You're going with a low, very enticing number. He's 50% on the season. To your point, no, he has not done that. However, I would be remiss if I didn't point out that 3 straight quarterbacks, including those of the Giants, have gone over this number. And in fact, on the season, you would have beaten this number in 6 out of 6 games against the Seahawks.
That's right.
So I believe in Peach
Let's go.
to get it done. Over, baby.
Oh, mama.
Dissertation done.
Next.
Research.
Over. Under.
Just
Research.
I'd go.
Who needs it?
Well,
So-
you just did it.
I don't know who the hell is playing running back for either team. We have 17 on
Great
our
question.
roster. I don't know if Kenneth Walker's going to play. I'm sure that he probably will. So we will just go entire room versus entire room. Browns running backs.
Uno, that popped Uno.
He liked
big.
Uno a lot like that. Browns running back room over or under Seahawks running back room Zagura.
Total yardage.
Total yardage.
That's a tough one.
Theirs are more accomplished.
Yeah,
But
where's
our
your
defense is
research
more
now?
accomplished.
We're
Although their
also-
defense is very good too.
They've been much more of a one-man band. Walker's got 556 total yards. Next closest is Charbonnet's got 145. So we're more of a balanced, multiple group here. In the event,
We may have 17 active running backs.
No. There's no in the event. It's one or the other.
He's right. You get the whole room.
Like it's the whole
this-
room.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
go. Let's be smart
Sustained.
about this.
Sustained. Gibbe
Thank
gets
you.
it. Gibbe gets a win. You're getting the whole room.
I think
doesn't
a
matter who's in
room
it.
that's Zach Charbonnet and DJ Dallas is very different than a room that's Kenneth Walker
So
and Zach
too would be
Charbonnet.
a room that does not have
Jerome Ford.
And I love him very much. And I don't know that necessarily that's the same impact as Kenneth Walker.
You're getting the whole room.
1,000-yard season. Fine. Browns.
Over. Gibbe.
Yes, Browns.
Right.
It's the right move. It only took 4 minutes for him to get there.
We've got, I don't know if you know,
Under.
but we are on till 3. So what are you
I
complaining
know.
about?
You have a This Is Your Life with Ben Balloon coming up in 7 minutes.
You cut 4 minutes of Bloom.
Yeah, well,
Save that audio.
We needed to.
Please.
Ridiculous. It was a
the audio.
banger.
Save the audio. All right. Number 3. Is this for you? This is for Gibbe.
For Gibbe.
All right, here you go. You get Chief, Amari, Elijah, and DPJ receiving yards over or under DK, Lockett, and Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Over because A, we're going to shut them down, and B, I don't know if half of that room for Seattle is even going to play.
I think that whole room's going to play.
I have belief in our defense.
So you have our offense having a day, Gibbe. You definitely have our offense having a day.
He does. It's not going to be a high completion
I didn't
percentage,
have-
but
I
our
didn't
guys are
have
going to catch
PJ
it. They're
Walker
going to
having
go.
a day.
Lot of bombs.
Lot of bombs. Yeah.
When it matters the most.
I like that line at a gimme when it matters the most.
I like that line too. I'll go Seattle there.
Under. Next.
Over, under.
Sacks, interceptions, fumbles.
Sweet.
Dr. Z. The number we are looking for is 3.5.
Over. I thought you were going 4.5. And then I was going to
That's always the one that makes you guys go.
Yeah.
It's the 4.5 one.
Let's feast. Over.
All right.
Yes,
very good.
absolutely.
You guys have done well on this the last couple of weeks. I got to do a better job of stiffening that up a little bit. I got to take better account of how good our defense is, but I've given it to you, and perhaps that's a gift. Next.
Over, under.
The actual over-under, Gibbe, 35.5.
35.5. That's it.
35.5. Over. Gibbe.
That's how
it has
low
to
it
be
is?
because his offense is as dominant as you've had it.
How was
Last week we were 40.5. The week before we were 37.5.
And this is 35?
35.5.
That is a low number.
Well, they beat. Think
But
about it though.
Seattle-
They beat.
yeah, I was
They don't
gonna say-
score like they beat last week. Arizona
Yeah.
was 20 to 10.
20-10.
It was what 20 to 14 against the Bengals for them.
Or
13
18.
or something.
It was
17-13.
low. Yeah, 17-13.
Bengals.
It was low.
So that's
like,
30-30.
Yeah, they're not. They don't do it.
What'd Gibbe do?
Over. So far, you have two differences.
Follow me to freedom, Zagura.
I unders are. I hate unders. So over.
Over.
Atta boy.
All right.
If we're wrong, we're wrong together. Great.
That's right.
Yeah. Kumbaya.
All right. Good job out of both of you. Elk and Elk Serious Lawyers, Serious Injuries. Call 1-800-ELK Ohio for a free case review. Elk and Elk's proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. Ben Bloom joins the program. Coming up next, you listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Rumpke Waste Recycling, family-owned business in operation for over 90 years. Driven by a strong sense of pride in making the world a cleaner, greener place for future generations to live. Learn more by visiting rumpke.com. Now here's Z with defensive line coach Ben Bloom.
Very happy now to be joined by a man who has quickly become
You guys are done.
Browns defensive line coach Ben Bloom. And Coach, it's got to be fun going to work every day. And when you got a D-line like you're working with right now, how's this kind of going for you now, your first season with the Browns as a defensive line coach 6 games in?
Yeah, I mean, it's been fantastic. It's a great daily work environment. I'm grateful for the people I work with, Coach Stefanski, Coach Schwartz, first and foremost, create a fantastic work atmosphere, and then the players in the D-line room, those guys are terrific. Obviously, they're talented, competitive dudes that love the game, but they bring a lot of fun and joy to work daily, and they're humble and always working to get better, and they make me better as a coach, and I'm grateful for the whole deal.
What's it like when you have a group of you got one of your defensive ends has been a 4-time Pro Bowler, the other one's a 3-time Pro Bowler. Dalvin's been in this league for a while. Shelby's been in the league for a while. Jordan's been in the league now for a while. You've got Maurice Hurst has been in the league for a while. You've got a lot of veteran guys. Obo's been around in that room, and then you have some young guys. You got rookies trying to work their way to getting active and get in the game. What's kind of that dynamic like as a teacher where you have so many established guys, but then also so many young guys?
Well, it's exciting and it's challenging. I liken it sometimes when I think about this to when I was a linebacker coach in Dallas and Sean Lee was the veteran former Pro Bowler. And when you have a guy like Sean in Dallas in the room, or you have Miles, Z, Obo, Dalvin, Mo, Jordan, Shelby, I mean, you named them. I hope I'm not forgetting anybody, but it's a challenge as a coach because you really got to be on your stuff. You have to know what you're talking about because your credibility's on the line. You got to be able to teach the techniques. You got to be able to identify the things that the opponent's doing that we need to stop, and you have to be consistent in how you teach it. So I welcome that challenge. I think we all work better in situations where we know we have to be our best, and having veterans who know what they're doing and have experience, that's a dynamic that exists. And at the same point, when you have young guys like Siaki or McGuire or even Alex, right, who are first, second year players, it gives you the opportunity to teach them the fundamentals because they're young and they need to hear the foundational aspects of the game. But then you also have these resources of these veteran guys who have done it, who can sometimes be a better teacher than you as a coach because they can second it or say it in a better way or just provide another perspective to get the same message across. So it's a great dynamic, and it's one that I do not take for granted.
All right. Can Myles Garrett do anything that would shock you anymore?
No.
No, I mean, when you watch the tape of him leaping from basically a 3-point stance and springing, I don't even know how, over the human beings to block that field goal, were you just like, what? That's what I was like. My jaw literally, they had the camera on us in the booth, and I saw it happen, and my jaw just dropped.
Well, it's one of those things that you see in practice, or that it's part of the game plan. And
so were you guys all giddy on the sideline knowing that this was happening, that we were about to get to see this?
I mean, I was just kind of like, this is going to happen. Like, when something like that's installed, the player, Myles, is capable of doing it. And I just think with Myles, and I'm fortunate to be around him a lot, is he's sometimes a very quiet, serious guy. And then other times he's not. But in the football sense, like, the guy takes so much pride in his craft, and he has so much ability, but at the same time, and I think this is like my point, he's really a student of the game, and he's so detailed in his technique and when appropriate, the techniques of the people he's going against, and he focuses on how he's going to do things, and he doesn't just rely on his talent. He relies on his brain. He relies on his preparation. He relies on his attention to detail, and so when you install things that you think, I don't know if someone could do this, like, he can probably do it because he's got the ability and he's got the focus, he's got the attention to detail, he's got the preparation. He's just really the ultimate pro. He's the full package. So, no, I'm not surprised because I know I've seen how the sausage is made, so to speak.
Yeah, well, he says he credits Joe Thomas, who we got to go against in his rookie season, teaching him how to take notes in his notebooks and the preparation and all of that stuff. And when you have those gifts and that commitment to your craft, you have greatness that we get to witness every single week here with the Cleveland Browns. You'd given a press conference that was really, I enjoyed, where you were talking about Zadarius Smith's pressures and how much they man, not this much, but this much, arms fully outstretched. And I loved that. Number one, how did your family enjoy you taking something that I hear you do at home all the time into a press conference for the Cleveland Browns?
To be clear, my wife does that at home more than I do, but I was more imitating her. But something was going on at home. She had some things going on, nothing big, but she was busy during the day. Sure. And I was like, hey, I had a press conference today. She's like, okay, I got to watch it. And then that was like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And then, we put the kids to bed. We've had dinner, and now it's 9 o'clock. I'm like, did you watch the press conference? She goes, no, I didn't get around to it yet. I'm like, you might want to watch the press conference. So she finally watched it, and she was, it was sent out quickly to her parents and her family and mine. And so
it was a hit. It was a hit.
It was a hit. It was not. It was improvised, but it's true. I do love my children that much, and I love what Zadarius is doing in the run and the pass for our team that much. So Z is a huge part of what we do, and it was awesome to see the way he finished the game last week to close it out for the team, and that was special.
Yeah, he's been so close, so many times. His win rates, his pressures, all of it, his hits. He's always around the quarterback, and to finally get it, and then he punches it out, 10th forced fumble of his career. Obo recovers the first fumble he's ever recovered in his career, and that was the way the Browns won it. That was pretty special because the two of them and Obo tackle for a loss in 6 straight games. Every week they're just going out there and bringing it for you, which is fun to see and probably gives you more things to even think about, ways to utilize and line them up.
Yeah, you have veteran guys who have a lot of talent and a lot of flexibility, and it's been asked before. I think Cameron asked it last week in my press conference. Just, Miles has the ability to move around, that's true, but you need to have other people that can be flexible with him, and those two guys are huge for us in that regard. And again, with Z, man, it's just, sometimes the quarterback decides who gets the sacks. He's going to step up a certain way in the pocket, or he might throw the ball, or he might back up 4 yards and run out of the back of the pocket, and sometimes, he throws out of bounds. That's happened to us this year too. So you can rush really well and have a high pressure rate and have a high win rate and not get sacks, or you could get sacks. So I think the sack to finish the game was just a culmination of everything he's been doing this year, and that's what it was for me.
Did you give your 1, 2, 3 celebration on the sideline after that sack? I was looking for it from the booth, but we are in Indianapolis, in another country. We are 1,000 feet in the air, so I was not able to get it quick enough in the chaos of what was going on. But what's the origin of that? Because I enjoy it a great deal as a wrestling fan.
The 1, 2, 3 celebration, the WWF, or now WWE, when the referee 3 slaps on the canvas, right, and the match is over. That did not happen at the end of the game versus Indy. That happened just a one-time thing so far. After I believe Dalvin hit the quarterback versus San Francisco. But we talk about boxing, we talk about wrestling, we try to keep things light. We like Ric Flair.
Nature boy.
Yeah, who doesn't? Woo! So all that limousine riding. So yeah, I don't know. It was another spur of the moment thing, but no, it didn't come out then. But you never know. It's not rehearsed. Sometimes it happens. At that point,
your spur of the moments are 2 for 2, though. So, you got to just let the bloomness flow, I feel like.
I'm not afraid to improvise. So, we'll see. In that moment, I was just, so pumped for Z to get the sack, for Obo to get the recovery, for us to win. And then I think Brandon Lynch ran over and hugged me real fast before I could do anything. So, wrap me up. So that was the celebration. Not as dramatic.
No, that's still good, though. All right, talk for a second, if you can, about the guys on the interior, because it's easy to see the sacks on the outside, but the work Dalvin's doing every single game, the work Maurice Hurst is doing every single game, Shelby Harrison, I want to talk about Jordan separate in a second, but those guys every single week, Dalvin in particular, just flies off the tape when you put them on, even though these are things that maybe don't show up in the box score, as it were.
Yeah, Dalvin was off the chart dominant versus San Francisco from like efficiency per percentage, how we grade and evaluate it from a technique and how he affected the game. Just the ability for him to play with explosion, play with length, knock back old linemen and change the line of scrimmage and disrupt and penetrate. He's just gifted in that regard, and he's so smart, diligent, detailed. His consistency is off the chart. And the other thing with Dalvin, he had some excellent rushes where he was winning last week versus Indianapolis, where the ball came out really fast, and he's in position at the quarterback. Sometimes the ball comes out. It's a little bit like we talked about Z earlier. In other situations, those could have been sacks. So that's how we look at it: is do you win the rush? And then the sacks are sometimes a consequence of what the quarterback does with the ball, and not necessarily how you performed on that rush itself.
Somebody who's winning lap Maurice Hurst, that swim move of his is devastating. He's playing great football for you. Shelby's out there making plays, especially at the line of scrimmage as well. And I want to talk about Jordan Elliott, because I'm not sure that anybody has a better couple play resume against Quentin Nelson than what Jordan put on tape on that sack and the tackle for loss last week. It feels like the last two games he's really kind of started to play in the backfield. What have you seen from him and that's led to maybe that change of this, what I'm calling a breakout for Jordan Elliott?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you're saying on Jordan, and to have him and Dalvin next to each other, starting games and playing together a lot is extremely valuable for us. And I want to hit real quick on Mo and Shelby, guys that are rotating in there and playing a lot of snaps. I mean, those guys are basically playing borderline starter snaps. And Shelby's, he's consistent. He's got length. He's got the ability to find the ball. He's productive. To have a guy like that come in late in camp and contribute to the rotation and play a lot of valuable reps is rare, and it's a credit to him and a credit to Andrew Berry and their staff of getting him in here. And then obviously Mo, he's just kicking butt, and he's like highly rated in PFF, I'm told, or Mo lets me know that sometimes. But he's winning a lot of rushes, and he had the big tackle for loss on third down. His ability to penetrate and disrupt and win on edges in this system is valuable and noticeable. But to go to Jordan, I think what he's done in the past 2 weeks has been really impressive and a testament to him and his work. He's so coachable, and he listens so well, and he's so detailed in his technique, and he's got an unbelievable level of humility where you can really critique some of his techniques, and he listens, and he doesn't take it personal, and he works on it, and it shows up. Because I don't like, just some of the things technically in the run game and in the pass rush that we've been working on that show up in practice, sometimes didn't show up all the time in the games early in the season, but now the last 2 weeks are showing up more and more. He had a big pressure even in the Tennessee game on the 3rd and 3 where he just put the guard right into Tannehill, and he basically threw it out of bounds. Okay, and then he had a half a sack.
30.
Good rushes versus Baltimore. Okay, and then obviously this week versus Quentin in the run game, and then the sack in the pass game. I mean, it's stuff he's been doing. Yeah. It's just the consistency is more often. We talk about that a lot. It's like, hey, we can do anything great once. The great players do the great things consistently, and I think that's what you see him doing. And I'm happy that you recognize it, because I recognize it, and everyone should recognize that.
Absolutely. All right. This has been a pleasure, absolute pleasure. The great Ben Bloom. Thanks so much for the time. Good luck.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yep.
All right, that's Ben Bloom and Z. Good job out of both of those guys there. The Tough Jumbos, by the way. Great little logo.
I know, but he cut that part.
Well, that's okay. It's all right.
Director's cut.
Release
it.
Release it to everybody. Give it.
Yes.
Keys to victory in Seattle, followed by the scores. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. OBM, the preferred provider of copiers and document services for the Cleveland Browns, can tackle any size office. The number is 216-485-2000 or visit ohiobusinessmachines.com. Time for your keys to victory in Seattle. And for that, we go to Dr. Z.
Oh, kids, how do we get this thing to a 3-game win streak?
Let's go.
Let's take a listen. I'm going to say it until it happens because I like saying it, and it has happened 15 times since Kevin Stefanski's been the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. So this is into our 4th season. So it was happening 5 times a year in his first 3 seasons. So far, we're at 0. So we're due.
We're due, baby.
And that's to have a game without a turnover. And if we do that, the Browns are 13-2 under Kevin Stefanski. So let's start there. Clean operation. Let's try it. Clean operation. I think that is number 1. That is incredibly important. Number 2, we've got to be a little more efficient on offense. We have got to be able to complete some of those easy passes, sustain some drives, and not allow Seattle to perhaps wear down our defense by having them be on the field too much. We've done such a good job in terms of time of possession all season long. That's something that we need to continue this week. I think that's very, very important. Browns right now are second in the NFL, 33.25 minutes per game. Seattle, by the way, 23rd, 28-31. I think it's important that we possess the football. When big plays are there, we've got to hit them. We've got to hit them. Again, we're the underdogs in this game. They are the favorites to win this game. So we have got to take advantage of opportunities that are presented. I think for our offensive line, you've got to be able to handle their defensive front. P.J. Walker, we talked about good decision-making right there. Reek Woolen last year was so good. 6 interceptions, 16 passes defense, blocked the field goal, was a Pro Bowler as a rookie. This year he has not been good, so I think we need to get after him. If we can isolate Jamal Adams in coverage, I think that's where you have a chance. He's given up 70% completion so far. Same with Julian Love. He's given up 78% completions. Witherspoon's almost kind of like a no-fly zone. So I think it's doing things in our game plan that create the situational matchups we like and then also executing when those opportunities present themselves. And I'll give you a perfect example. Like, this is a game where if we have a 4th down and we make a brilliant play call, fake dive, pitch out to Jerome Ford, we've got to complete the pitch.
Got to hit that, man.
Because that was a touchdown.
It was.
Most likely. I mean, or it's a 20-yard. It was, first of all, a first down. Second of all, likely that it ends in the end zone. So those little things, we just have to execute those. And when, you're playing a team that, is favored to beat you, I think that's part of it. Can you out-execute them? And then defensively, I think we need to dominate the line of scrimmage. We reset the line of scrimmage in the run game, and then we earn the right to get after Geno Smith, and I think we can dominate their line. They are in a bad, bad way up front.
There you go.
There it is.
Those are your keys to victory. The Friday forecast presented by Carrier. Carrier turned to the experts. A high of 55 and sunny in Seattle on Sunday. Sunny, Gibbe. Gorgeous.
I'll take that.
It's beautiful up there.
Yeah, that's
I told my wife today, in November, if I can get games in the 50s, get me to December that way, great.
To get sun this time of year there on a Sunday afternoon is a
rare.
Monumental win.
It's a rare treat.
Yeah, that'll be gorgeous. That's going to be a fun trip. What's the flight time out there for you boys?
Long.
Yeah, I think it's long. We're supposed to be 50 as of right now.
Is it 5.5 long? We talking 5.5?
No,
long?
no,
4.5.
Nothing. Yeah, I think 4.5 to 5. Probably 5 going out there, 4:15 coming back.
Get the wins, baby.
Yeah, with the wins.
There you go.
Let's hope.
Gibby, I did see that we're scheduled to return at 12:50 a.m.
Over under.
Would you like to make a
over under
111?
111?
What'd you say?
111.
Over. That's a joke. That over under need to be set at like
I was just telling the
2:15,
birthday boy.
2:30 would be
really?
a fair over under.
I was just telling the birthday boy Griff here. I go, it'll be 11 o'clock at night before we even depart Eastern time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because that'll
if we get home before if I'm in my bed before 3 a.m., I will consider it a huge win. That 12:50 is
no chance.
So
game out there is we're 425, 405. So you're talking about
so
8.
Call it
8:30 before we leave the stadium.
7:05 end, right? I don't think we leave the stadium. 8:15 to 8:30 max.
Yep.
Well, 8:15 would be the earliest, best case scenario.
I agree. Well, our games have been going long, so I would think probably 7:15, 7:30 before the game ends.
You're right, they have been.
And if that happens, then we're leaving 8:30, maybe even to 8:30 to 9.
8:30, then you're doing how long to the airport?
Probably at least a half hour.
40 minutes to load everything under the plane.
Then 40 minutes to unload.
10. Plus 4.5.
And then
I believe I had this.
Yeah.
2:30.
Yeah. 12:50. If we get home at 12:50,
you're on the Concorde, baby.
I will. I
I'm
don't know
buying
what
the
I'll do.
pilot a cocktail. The
gotta-
bar's
yeah.
still open somewhere.
You got our
Yeah.
friends at the Naval Academy hooking you up with some jets, baby. That's the only way that happens. The fine men at the United States Navy. All right, it's time for the scores, kids.
We have
promise.
a ton.
We have a ton. I promise we'll do better. Can't do much worse. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Supplies Plus give you the chance to win tickets to home games all season long while providing the best deals for your pet at over 75 stores throughout Ohio. Enter to win at clevelandbrowns.com/pet supplies plus. Receive a coupon to use at your local store with your entry. Pet Supplies Plus, proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. Time for a little segment we like to call The Scores. Do pay attention as we head into week 8.
Oh,
Hello,
baby.
Gibby.
Gentlemen, Zagura,
Gibby.
give us the
Gentlemen.
damage report.
The first
from
time in the
Zagura.
history of the scores that Gibby has asked for the results.
Yeah, because he knows he
Knows
likes
that he likes to wallow in our misery.
He likes our misery. Well, folks, it was not our best week with the scores. On Monday night, the Vikings came through for me to push me to the glorious record of 5-8.
It's going to happen.
Hate
It's a
to see
losing
it.
week. Hate to see it. Bo 4-9.
Sad.
The good news is, though, we still are a combined 52 games over 500.
There you go.
So
you
what do you
won
got?
a lot more than you lose. You're welcome.
You're welcome. We're going to try to bounce back. No rattle. No, rethinking the strategies. It was just a weird week.
Judge us not by our winners, but by our losers, because there are so few.
There are so few.
All right, on
We're
that
losing
note.
recipes.
That was unbelievable. I'd never seen that.
Me neither.
Oh, my God.
I feel like that clip I need to know whatever
I
preceded
just wonder
that
if
moment.
this is what my theory is. So we're talking. There's a clip. The NFL Network turns 20 or something like that.
Yes.
And there's a clip going around of their great moments. And this guy Greg Rosenthal tweeted out all these Irv clips from early NFL Network. And I think it was before Twitter and social. And so this stuff wasn't shared immediately. There's got to be a treasure trove of Michael Irvin NFL Network
Apex Irv.
on every level. There's got to be. Oh my
unfiltered.
gosh! I mean, this clip that
This was
that we got-
cable.
This clip that we shared last night, it was it was unbelievable that it was said out loud.
Yeah, it's crazy,
nuts.
What,
So
but
there's
but
got to
I
be a bunch
still
of
want to know what were the 30 seconds that
the context
led up to
I have
that.
No idea.
Irv,
So great.
so great. All right, we're gonna be great.
Let's go, Gibby.
1-0
Let's get
already
it done.
this week.
Let's get sure whatever you say.
We were.
I told you, Bills huge on a Thursday.
And then I was skeptical, and then
And I
we
said, no,
then
trust,
we looked.
trust.
Then we looked, and I
Trust.
said, "Yes,
Got it.
got it,
Got it.
got it."
All right, the first place team in the NFC South, the gutless Atlanta Falcons, heading to Nashtucky to take on the Tennessee Titans. Official, no Ryan Tannehill. And who knows if the Titans are going to be sellers here over the next 48 hours as well. Zagura, kick us off. Week 8 in the National Football League.
I feel like when it comes to our successes and our joy, that Gibbe is the Toby from The Office. That's who he chooses. And it prompts
That's a horrible thing. I should take you off the air
it prompts
right now.
Michael Scott to say a thing like this. I hate so much about the things you choose to be. That's right. No, there's some definite Toby
The only
vibes.
difference, though, is Gibby is purposeful. I don't know that Toby ever did anything to Michael.
Not
No.
intentionally.
He
no.
just tried
This
to
is-
rein in his nonsense.
He's Toby with an agenda.
With an agenda-driven Toby.
Yeah, he's an agenda ADT. You're an ADT, Gibbe.
Awful comparison.
Well,
Should-
Jump
Think
in
about-
the joy. Jump in the joy.
Jump in the
river.
joy, right. Think about how bad you have to be to earn that comparison.
What have I done today to do that?
Today? I mean,
We have a lot on the record.
we could do
to seep our joy.
the next time that he and I want to just take a day off and go play golf. What we'll do is we'll play 2 hours
See, Zagura
of
lives
you
in fantasy land.
being mean to us
And Zagura's
and,
like, oh,
and
yeah.
robbing my
The
joy.
I could go do this whenever I want.
The final segment
See?
will be
See,
the
that's
final.
weird because I was there at the Kevin Stefanski show last night. I was there working
Oh.
and working hard.
And you were there
I was shoveling river rock. 4 yards of it.
for the Browns?
No.
Interesting. Yeah. That's only 12 feet, by the way. Let's not get crazy.
It's a lot of river rock, man. It was 3 truckloads.
I was shoveling river rock.
4 yards.
River rock.
Listen, we need to get
all
10
about the rock.
yards. First and 10.
All right, go ahead.
All right, give it.
Falcons,
Back. All
Titans.
right. Give it. I love it.
I'm just happy
Oilers
that
throwbacks.
Zagura put in a full day.
There
Good
it
job
is.
by
See?
you, buddy.
See? Toby. He's like, well, I don't get it. Why would you call me Toby? There you go.
There's your point.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go. Falcons, Arthur Smith revenge game. By the way, I don't know that I dislike a head coach. more than Arthur Smith. He is
He's
constantly
coming-
taking shots at fantasy. He's smug.
Yeah,
he's
he
kind of a
is.
crud.
Know-it-all
and he's,
crud.
Yeah, like
Sign me up.
a real jerk.
He
Just
is.
stop drafting running backs.
Bijan Robinson doesn't play
No.
at all,
Uh-uh.
and they knew the illness and whatever, and then he tries to act like it was a game plan or something. Different
Yeah,
weeks we
it's
go with the
wild.
hot hand, and he's like, "Oh, sorry about your fantasy teams." Come on, Mike Shanahan used to do that fantasy stuff, but he would just do it because that's just how he coached. I don't know. I don't like it, but I can't choose the cup in front of me, so I don't think Will Levis gets it done. Falcons 3, Titans 0, and I hate it.
Yeah, I don't. This is a gross game. They're wearing the Oiler uniforms. Levis's first game.
They're not the
Hopkins
Oilers.
getting
They
traded
cobble up-
because Hopkins
cobble some-
canceled his autograph
It
signing.
just feels like one that, I don't know, Vrabel's got a little magic. Give me Tennessee 3-1.
Oh my God.
Good one. Hey, tonight's game 1 of the World Series, Uno told me. I was like,
Don't care.
on a Friday night. Great job by MLB. Wonderful. Good job.
Wake me up if
It'll be
there's
the
a
fourth
Game 7.
most viewed college football game on Saturday.
On a Friday, I bet it won't be top 10.
They better do about 8 million. Or they're gonna
Uno's
have problems.
watching.
They can't get 8
The
million.
birthday boy Griff here is a big Rangers fan.
Griff.
What happened in 2011 when the
Juan
Rangers went to the World
Gonzalez.
Series? Let's go, Redbirds!
Juan Gonzalez.
Juan gone.
Remember
By
the
way-
Juan Gonzalez reverse negative card? That was a big Donruss card back in the day. Go ahead.
I just got text
Boy, do I have a Juan
from-
Gonzalez story.
from-
and it is
this-
not allowed to be aired.
the play-by-play man of the Cleveland Browns this week, Chris Rose.
Yep.
Most of Irv's clips we can't put out.
Come on, CR.
We want him. Can we have
I
a-
want him so
Yeah.
bad. Oh, come on. Show me all the Irv.
Listen, everybody knows that there is a huge market for like too hot for TV.
Yep.
Just call it Michael Irvin, too hot for TV.
Yep.
From the
I
NFL
like it.
Network archives. $19.99 plus shipping and handling.
That's what I want.
And I'm in.
I want
I will buy
all
it.
the
I'll
Irv.
buy it.
I want
it
all the Irv. Yep.
Irv. And then what do I want? It's more Irv.
More.
More.
Yep.
Give me. That's what they should
Hey,
call it.
you know what?
Irv.
Actually,
On
you want to
every
boost the rate.
level.
You want to get people to subscribe to NFL Plus. Put all that stuff
All the
on
Irv.
NFL Plus,
I like
Irv.
it. All the Irv available.
All the
like
Irv.
an Irv channel.
I'm
Just do
also.
that.
It also saddens me that I didn't realize to call him Irv until the Hoff called him Irv.
Yeah.
And realized everybody
calls him
Irv.
Irv. I like Playmaker
Yeah.
still, but
I do too, but Irv's
Irv.
pretty good. Yeah.
Up next, Houston's 1-2 on the road. It doesn't matter because Carolina's
done one game.
0-2 and 0-4 and 0-6 overall. Houston visiting Carolina. Bishop.
Well, if Carolina's ever going to win, it's going to be this one. I just think they've got so few weapons and seem so lost. Houston's actually a pretty good team, and so I'll roll with the good team, and I will do so by a score of 28-20.
Segura.
same. I just don't like. I'm rethinking the Atlanta because I just don't feel like all these little road favorites are going to win. They're not all going to win.
Doesn't seem like it.
No.
So this is a good one here in the AFC. Jacksonville
believe you
visiting
just said that.
the Pukers.
Cam just said that.
Renegade. Garbage time. Jacksonville's listed as 3-0 away. But technically they play 2 home games in London.
Yeah.
So really,
Were those both designated home games, or was one of them somebody else's home?
one of them
had
was
to be
someone
somebody
else's, I
else's.
believe.
All right.
Yeah.
But
I'm
I don't
willing this one. Whose is it? Just me or you?
Segura leading off. Jags at Pukers.
Yeah, I'm going to will it too. I think the Jags are a good football team. I like them, and I think they handle their business 91-12.
Samesies.
I'd like that.
There's no way. I already hate this week.
I'm
switching to Tennessee officially.
These
Nope,
numbers
not doing
get
it.
these
You gotta say,
scores
you're
get
fine. You're
a
safe.
lot
You're
bigger,
safe. You're
kids.
safe. Safe.
To Dallas we go. The Big D. The Los Angeles Rams are 3-4 on the football season, visiting Dallas and the Star 4-2 on the year. Bishop. Yes. Who's
Hello?
knocking?
Is that Matt Stafford there?
He's not at the front door, but he's at the back door, baby. Cowboys, huge, 31-27.
Puka, 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 yeah.
Give me one late.
Ram it.
Little late, ram it, loss.
Ram
Let's go.
it.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Up next, a nice hot garbage game for you. Minnesota, 3-4 on the year, chance to get to 500, visiting the land of beer and cheese. The Green Bay Packers at 2-4. Zagora.
So this one hasn't made sense to me at any point in
all week
since we did the actual scores from when we did guess the lines.
Yep,
it's changed considerably.
It has.
It opened with Green Bay.
That little dog right there.
Little Jack Russell, apparently vicious.
Whose is it?
That's Allison's.
Oh, that's her.
That's apparently a vicious dog.
Wow.
I gave him a treat, though.
How'd that go?
We were homies.
That made you homies? Feels like
So this
treats
game
handle
opened Green Bay -1. It is now Green Bay plus 1.5, so 2.5-point move in the direction of the Vikings. And yet, there's a small percentage backing the Vikings relative to the percentage backing the Green Bay Packers. What I will tell you, it actually probably be better to come from Uncle Bo. That means the Sharps are moving that line, not Joe Public.
That's right.
And thus,
That's right. That's right.
Vikings, the glory days of MVD are back. 2-game
back,
winning
baby.
streak.
Mall of America.
1,000. Love.
Same.
See what I did there?
I did.
I did.
That means 0 in tennis.
Good job.
That's right.
Good job.
You ever try explaining tennis scoring to a kid? It's amazing.
15, 30, 40. Deuce. What?
Advantage.
Add out, add in.
It's amazing. Why are they going, Dad, why 15? Why is it not 1? Why did they pick 15? Why did they pick 30? But okay. But
Good questions by the
But why wouldn't it go to 45?
Why wouldn't it go to 45? Dad, it goes to 40? 40 love? Why is it not? Numerals of 15. What? I don't know.
I don't know,
man.
Next to the AFC East, we go New England. Fresh off an upset win last week. 2 wins on the year, visiting South Beach. Jalen Ramsey expected to be back. Tyreek Hill also a go in this one. Bishop.
Dolphins in what should be their permanent uniforms. These things are absolutely beautiful. Patriots, I'm not being lulled into anything with them. I don't think they're any good. I think Miami goes big in this one. I like them huge. Miami 38, New England 20.
Zagura.
Same. If you go back to even when Tom Brady was there, the team that always had their number, it felt like was the Dolphins. They would still always kind of shock the world.
South Beach hangover,
beat,
dog.
Yeah, and beat New England. That's right. I like this one, too. I don't like how big it is, but I do like this one. Dolphins. Huge.
A candidate for the inmate game of the week, New Orleans. 3-4 on the year, visiting Minshew Mania and the Indianapolis Colts. Both teams 3-4 on the football season, and a must-win game probably for both. Bishop or Zagura? Thank you. Zagura.
I was impressed with what I saw from the Indianapolis
Me
Colts.
too.
I think Jonathan Taylor's back. I think that, you get the long layoff for New Orleans, but it sounds like there's trouble down there. Olave's speeding. Derek Carr's yelling at him when he throws the ball 30 yards out of bounds. It just doesn't feel like they're singing Kumbaya.
No.
And Gardner Minshew and the Colts, they're fun. They're plucky, spunky. New Orleans, 98. Colts, 97.5.
Oh, mama. Jeez. I like the Colts outright in this game. I think they're going to win outright. I like their ability to run it. I don't understand the love affair with New Orleans from the people in the desert. I like Indy winning this one straight up 27-21.
Safe.
Up next, the Giants with a home game, yet they're playing a team that also views MetLife as their home stadium. It's the Jets, it's the Giants, it's the Battle of New York, and no one cares. Daniel Jones out. Brian Daboll unsure if Jones will play again this year.
Great.
Is what he said.
Fantastic.
Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed are back for the Jets. Bishop.
Yeah, I like the Jets a lot. This one it's just one of those things where there's also big drama on the Jets side because Zach Wilson went home on vacation with his lady friend to Utah during the break.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, that kid does.
Riff
I feel
like
like that whole state, he does very well. Just
Yeah.
that type of an operation. I like the Jets. Close. Jets 17, Giants 16. Close.
Not as close for me. J-E-T-S.
Oh, baby.
Jets 17-0.
Beat down.
Woo! Big one in the NFC East. The Philadelphia Eagles are 6-1 on the football season. They travel to Washington to battle the 3-4 Commanders. Zagora.
This one's me.
It is?
Yeah, you just because he went last on that one. Oh, no, it's you.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
you. It's you.
That's
It's
right.
you. My bad. Bad job.
No.
Small
No.
B. Small B.
Huge B. Huge.
No, tiny. B.
I think Washington, it sounds like, is in a fire sale, or
Mm-hmm.
they're considering selling some assets. I don't think they're very good. I do think, though, that maybe they respond a little bit to the nonsense, and maybe Terry McLaurin.
Oh, gosh.
Maybe Terry McLaurin's
Are they
at the
finally
back
gonna
door.
throw to him?
They're going to throw it to him. He's at that back door. Eagles 80, Washington 75.
Same,
Big numbers.
but different. Philly's hitting their stride. Washington full give-up mode. I like Philly 31-14.
It feels like it should be, but I felt like I can't take every favorite.
I know it. That's why I did the Giants last.
So outside of Pittsburgh, everybody in the AFC North division heading west. Baltimore, the Ratbirds, visiting the team we will play next week, the Arizona Cardinals. Bishop, now we start getting into some crazy numbers.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
They just slumped the Detroit Lions.
I know. And I do think Arizona is in spiraling mode. I think it's right at it. Baltimore 20, Cards 10. 10. Barely. 20-10. 20-10.
So after this week, the Ravens get the Seahawks and then the Browns. There's part of me thinks that maybe they overlooked this Arizona Cardinals team. Just
Mars says they're not.
Bit. I think they overlook them, but I'm not sure that it matters that they overlook them. They're going to win 40. Arizona.
Oh, God.
3. Can't do it.
Can't do it. Can't do it.
Which means probably should have done it.
All right, some developments out of Kansas City here. Justin Ross has been placed on the commissioner's exempt list for arrest on domestic battery charges.
God.
So he is out. McCole Hardman. Luckily, the Chiefs went out and got him. Chiefs visiting the Denver Broncos. Zagura. That's right.
Denver is dreadful. I feel like the Chiefs should drill them. They have drilled them already once this year.
Yep.
It just feels like it's just too easy. I don't
All
know.
right.
I don't. I know that, and then maybe I took Washington. That'll be my one. I'm sticking. Is Taylor Swift going to be there?
She's not going to Denver, is she?
Denver's a great town.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
I mean, it's just a New York base, I guess.
She can go anywhere she wants. She probably has a fleet of jets.
Yes, I'm not saying the world would prevent her from doing it. I just wonder, are you going to go to every game?
I mean, is she on tour still?
No, she's about to start her.
About to start
world.
the European, and then that'll be the end of it.
Yeah,
the end of the romance.
I don't know. I feel like they're in it for the long haul.
Over under February 14th
of this year.
Yep.
Over.
Under.
Okay. Wow. Mark that down, Uno.
Chiefs by a billion.
Mark that down, Uno.
Chiefs by a billion.
Chiefs by a billion. Same.
The big one for Jim Nantz and Tony Romo. The Bengals visiting the San Francisco 49ers. Brock Purdy limited in practice yesterday. Bishop.
Niners rebound at home. Closer. 20-17. Niners.
Nate, I told you we couldn't overcome Steve Young in Minnesota, but we're back. We own the Bengals. Remember those Super Bowls when you were a kid, Nate?
John Candy.
John Taylor. Niners. 1,000.
Oh, my God.
Bengals. $9.99.
Ooh, same.
Final one. Waiting all day. Luckily, we'll be on a plane ride home and not having to put ourselves through this.
I'd love to watch it on the plane ride home. It would take 3 of the
No active quarterback has more losses than Justin Herbert since he was drafted.
It's really
in
amazing
2020.
statistic, is it not?
It is.
It's a wild stat. As talented as they are, they just can't sort it out.
It's because of their coach. Suckage. Chargers hosting the Bears. Zagura. We got to go.
It makes no sense that the Chargers should get this type of respect against anybody.
No.
We've got
2-4 football team. Bajent, light, flying high.
The best story. I feel like
the best ever. Dad.
The National Football League, though, is in Hollywood. And they're going to be dealt a dose of reality. This is the week the Chargers get right. Chargers 80, Bears 1.
Same. Yeah, same on that one. We'll get our score coming up next. Listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Sunday on the Cleveland Browns Radio Network. Browns game day. Ken and Gerard at noon. Browns kickoff show. Andy and Tyvis at 2 o'clock. And then at 4 o'clock from Lumen Field, Chris, Z, and Gerard for the call of the Browns and the Seahawks. Buckeyes play Saturday night, 7:30 against
It's on
Wisconsin.
NBC, right? I can
It is
watch
on
this?
It's on NBC.
Okay.
Yep, it's on
'Cause
NBC.
I saw something that just said Peacock, and I was
No.
we're gonna have an issue.
It's your primetime NBC game. I think it's 14.5, and Wisconsin without their starting quarterback and one of their starting running backs. I like
Which
Buckeyes.
is perfect. It's 4 o'clock our time.
Yeah, 30-7 or something like that for the Bucks against
I'll
Luke
take that.
Fickell.
I can watch
That's the way
it.
seems
That
to
sounds
me.
sad for Luke Fickell and for the Hoff.
Poor Fick and the Hoff. Yeah, absolutely. All right, we are at Seattle, sir. How do you see it going?
I think we're hot. It feels like we're a team of destiny.
1 minute.
And I think we find a way. 24-21 on a Dustin Hopkins 53
Oh, come on, let's do it.
Did you take the? Yeah, he took the over. I
Yeah.
was going to say, did you just second guess yourself?
No, he had the over.
Okay.
All the pieces matter. Samesies. Let's go.
Good
Stack
when he
another
needs
one.
to be, baby.
Let's
Stack
go.
another one. Let's get it done. We'll be back on Monday to break it all down. The next level's coming up next. Have a great weekend, everybody. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.